situation today in Spain is a bit upside down because the new government is going to present its cabinet, but still the leading national newspapers run on their front page another story, which is the effects of a possible victory of Donald Trump on the stock market. The leading index in Spain, IBEX, has lost nearly 4% during the last 3 days when Trump was leading in the polls over Clinton in some swing states. And one analyst says no one in the market is really prepared for a victory of Trump. And if that materializes, markets could lose 10 to 15% of their value.
Hi, good morning. Katharina here from London. Today's newspapers here in the UK are covering the tight race between Clinton and Trump quite extensively. But there is definitely one article which stands out and covers a bit of a different aspect. It's about Trump as a businessman, and it is in the Financial Times.
This article describes Donald Trump as a trouble-prone executive with a knack for reinventing himself after business setbacks. There is one interesting comparison the authors are making. They are saying if there is any precursor for Donald Trump in US history, it is not Henry Ford and it is not Warren Buffett. It is Harry Houdini. Harry Houdini, an American illusionist and stunt performer.
The US election is seriously harming the position of the pro-US forces within China. There is a very important professor in Beijing called Tan Rong that called the US election the worst since the end of the Second World War. And he said that he can't support the US policy anymore. That the entire election campaign is not showing off how advanced the US as a country and its political system is, and rather a symbol how many problems the US are facing and how problematic it is to continue supporting the US government from the side of China.
Andrei Badin from Russia. The Russian press dislikes the behavior of the American colleagues. The far-right newspaper Zavtra sentenced conspiracy against Donald Trump. Vestiru, the official website of the state-owned TV, writes about a cooperation between Hillary Clinton and CNN to discredit her opponent within the party, Bernie Sanders. Back to USSR headlines. A pro-Kremlin newspaper Izvestia in a column about the US election campaign. The author complains about the biased US media. Generally, the behavior of the local press in the present election campaign has to be investigated because it contradicts all the existing perceptions of high professionalism, objectivity and integrity, writes Izvestia. That is because American mass media are owned by the big business, a part of which is Hillary Clinton, concludes the Russian paper.
Hi, this is Mira Selva in Singapore. Now in Malaysia, the former Prime Minister, Mahathir Mohamad, who has never been a fan of the US to be fair, has talked about the US elections in his customary critical tone, saying this is the country that's ruling the world and it has no idea how to elect its own leaders. I mean, admittedly, he was very critical of the US while he was Prime Minister. He was Prime Minister for 22 years, but he is seen as something of an elder statesman in this part of the world, and his words will sting. And in the Philippines, they believe they've already elected their own version of Donald Trump. Rodrigo Duterte came to power a few months ago on an anti-establishment ticket, promising to get tough on drugs, tough on immigration, tough on crime. He's certainly done that. He's turned Philippines' foreign policy on its head. He's gone very much towards China and neglected its old ally, the United States. People are now saying this is what's going to happen to the United States if Donald Trump gets into power. They too will end up like the Philippines.
It's now exactly a year ago, on 4th of November 2015, that Justin Trudeau was sworn in as Prime Minister of Canada. What a contrast to other countries. This guy talks about openness and tolerance. He is against building walls. He welcomes refugees and immigrants, and he calls himself a feminist. So, and then you see the USA. This is really a stark contrast, and the Economist today titles "Liberty Moves North and Sees Canada as an Example to the World." It's really difficult to imagine Trudeau standing beside Trump and shaking hands. Most Canadians are horrified by this perspective.